Hello beautiful ladies, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how to get this costume look for Audrey Hepburn. Purim is this week. Purim is a Jewish holiday that's similar to Halloween in that you get to dress up and do funny outfits and things like that. The story of Purim is very, very different than Halloween, as you might imagine. It's about the Jewish people being saved when Haman and Ahasuerus were trying to destroy them. It's a really interesting story. You should look it up. It's fantastic. One of my favorite actresses of all time is Audrey Hepburn. I'm obsessed with her. People used to tell me that I looked like her, and so I used to try and do my makeup like her. I tried to get a haircut like her once. I actually chopped off all of my hair. So I just thought it would be really fun to try and make myself look like her. So I used this photo. I decided this was the best photo because she's looking down so you can get a good look at her eye makeup. Audrey's favorite makeup style was really bold eyebrows and really big, beautiful eyes. Her looks were much more natural for the most part. Of course, what we're doing now was not popular in that time period, but her big, bold eyebrows, that's something that definitely translates to today. The big, beautiful eyes translates to today. And she actually overdrew her lips in many of her pictures, which you might not necessarily just think to notice, but when you're looking at it to try and do a tutorial based off of it, you'll realize she drew over her lips as well, which is a very common theme that we see nowadays in people's makeup. So what I focused on, as you can see, are these very bold eyebrows. I put on some lashes and I kind of brought some attention to the eyes. Really satin, beautiful skin, just clean, not really complicated, and then beautiful bold lips. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my blog, subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Would you wear this makeup just on a regular basis? Because I feel like I would. Maybe not so bold of an eyebrow, but something kind of similar I think is really nice. What are your favorite costume looks? Because I love doing costume makeup. And tell me what products you've been using, what kind of makeup stuff you've been enjoying, and any other things you want to talk about, leave it down below and I will respond to you. So let's get started.
I'm going to start off with this silicone primer from L'Oreal, and I'm just going to blend this in all over the face. I really want to smooth out any of my pores and all my imperfections so I have a good base to start with. Then I'm going to go in with my foundation from Physicians Formula, and I'm just going to put this all over the face, and I really want to get a natural satin finish. So I'm going to blend this out with an EcoTools sponge, which is really going to give me a natural base and give my skin a glow that's not dewy, but just kind of looks natural. And especially because I didn't go in with a dewy primer, this is just going to look like a satin finish, which is really what we're going for. Then I wanted to cover up any imperfections with a skin-toned concealer. And then I took a concealer that's a little bit lighter than my natural skin tone, and I went under the eyes just so that I could get a really nice big-eyed effect, which is really the point of this whole look, is big eyes and big eyebrows. I blended this out with a Real Techniques sponge that's made for the eyes. It's small. And then I put some of that concealer on my lids just so I could take away any of the discoloration that I have. I tend to have a little bit of a darker lid space, and I really wanted just to get rid of that so that I had a perfect base to start with. Then I blended that out with that little sponge, and I dipped that in powder, in a loose powder, and I set my under eyes so I wouldn't have any creasing. Did that on both eyes, and then I went in with a face powder that I used last week from Wet n Wild that I'm still using and I really love, and I went all over the face with it because I really like the setting it gives my face. Then I went in with the same brow pencil that I used last week as well from Wet n Wild, and I needed to define my brows and give them more space than they actually take up on my face. Because Audrey Hepburn's brows, in the picture that I showed you, you can see she actually drew over her natural brows. She really extended the back of her brow and she defined her arch. So I did the same here. I took a dark color and I really just defined my brow and actually drew outside the line a bit, just so that I could get that really big brow. My husband even noticed it. And I took this little spoolie and brushed everything out. Then I went in and set my eyebrows with this gel from L'Oreal, and I really wanted to set them down just so that they'd stay set all night because you have all that extra product on there. I set down my eyes with the transition shade that was just the same color as my skin, and then I went in with a little bit of a neutral brown on that same fluffy brush just so I could contour my eye, because that's really all Audrey Hepburn is doing in most of her photos, but especially in this one. She's got a little bit of contour, but nothing really obvious, and I went under the eye as well just so that I could define my eye shape and actually make them look a little bit bigger by having that shadow underneath. I went in with a little bit of a smaller brush and a little bit of a darker shade, and I went into my outer V just so that I could make sure that I was getting that definition that I wanted. I really wanted to put that under the bottom of my lash line as well, just so that I could make my eyes look a little bit bigger. And then I took a small brush, and with that dark shade, I defined my upper lash line, because if you look in the picture, she actually has a little bit of definition on that upper lash line that's not just the eyeliner. I then took that same first shade that I was using, that's the same color as my skin, and I applied that on my inner corners just to maintain that look of natural. Then I went on with a black eyeshadow on a little bit of an angled brush, and I drew just all along my upper lash line and an angle at the end that looks a little bit like a cat eye, and I defined my lower lash line as well. I really wanted to get something that looked a little bit more natural, even for her, because she was using a lash definer that looked more like an eyeshadow. Then I curled my lashes and I put on some mascara, and I put some on my top and bottom lashes because, again, you want to really grab attention with your eyes and your brows with this look. Then I applied my lashes, as you can see, and then I defined my nose with some contour because her nose and my nose are very different. So I needed to shorten the end of my nose and draw that little line across the bridge of my nose, because that'll trick the eye into thinking that you have a little bit of a button nose, which I do not have, and it'll make it look like the bottom turns up. Then I contoured my cheeks and under my chin, but I really didn't want to do too much of this because she didn't do too much in her photos. She just had a natural shadow in her photos, but I thought for pictures when we're going out and having fun, then you really want to define your cheekbones a little bit. Then I put on some blush and just a touch of the most natural highlight that I have. And the real reason I did that was just so that I could highlight my nose, just to trick the eye again into looking like my nose was more similar to her shape. Then I used this lip liner from Wet n Wild and defined my lips a little bit more specifically, and I overdrew them, which I rarely ever do, but this lip liner actually gives me that capability. And then I went in with this liquid lip and I just went over my overdrawn lips, and it really looked natural. You could barely tell, which I think is true of her as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you try this look. Please share them on Instagram with me and tag me, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye.